Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Thank you for clicking on this video. This is my second video, so I'm still a bit nervous. If you're new here, my name is Nalin and I'm based in Japan. I built this channel with the hope to connect people together through, raw emotions, real stories, and how we can use the practice of mindfulness to help us find more peace with our emotions and in our everyday life. And today I want to talk about vulnerability because it's something so important and something we can all relate to. My question to you would be, when was the last time you were truly vulnerable? For me, it is now. When I'm making this video, when I'm writing the script. If you ask me, am I scared to be vulnerable in front of a camera? Of course I am, definitely. But I still choose to be vulnerable because I believe that's the best way to connect with people, is to show my authentic self, no matter how scary or how embarrassing it can be. I'm scared that people would judge me, or that the message I'm trying to convey doesn't get across to people, or that my videos are just crap because I'm a total beginner at this. But I have learned that we often judge ourselves more than others when we show who we really are, right? When we see others be their authentic self, even when they're showing fear, showing their anxiety, we often think good things about them. We don't think that that person is weak. We tend to think, oh, they're so brave, right? But when it comes to ourselves, it's different, right? We feel weak. Brené Brown, who is an author and a researcher on the topic of vulnerability, she said, vulnerability is courage in you, but inadequacy in me. And when you think about it, it's very true, right? So I have a friend who is so honest about her feelings and her struggles, and she would share that with me and with her other friends as well. And sometimes very personal things. And I've always been amazed at how brave she is. There was just no fear of judgment at all, or maybe because she trusts me a lot. But still, some people just find it hard to do that with just anyone, even their closest family members or boyfriend, husband, wife, whoever. And as for me, I'm still a work in progress. As I mentioned in my last video, that I am also on this journey with you all. I'm also trying to improve myself through mindfulness practice, through reflecting on my everyday life, and just, becoming a better version of me, slowly but surely. That's what I'm doing. But one thing that I've noticed for sure is that once I bare myself to someone that I truly trust, I feel lighter afterward, and also I feel more confident in myself. Maybe some of you here can relate to that as well. Sorry, I'm having a bit of a cold, but my goal is to release 1 video per week, so I'm doing my best. I've had this idea of creating a community on YouTube for a long time, but I've never told anyone, not even the people closest to me. But one day I decided to share this idea with my husband, all about my dreams, my passion, what I want to achieve in the end. And I remember that ecstatic feeling I had. And I almost choked up because I was so passionate in doing this, in serving people. I've just never really had any passion before in my life. But I never told anyone about it because, I was afraid of judgment, that people would think I'm crazy. This a 37-year-old woman suddenly just want to create a channel on YouTube, just, trying to make her big dreams come true by connecting people through their stories and using mindfulness to serve people. But being the supportive and understanding husband he is, when he heard about all my big dreams, he just smiled at me and then he said, I will support you through this journey. And it was so sincere, And at that time, I never realized that all I needed to hear was that, just that someone out there who believes in me and supports me, no matter how crazy it sounds. And he was so excited when I posted my first video on his birthday. He was so happy. So what I've learned is that a lot of the time, when we choose to be vulnerable, that actually gives us the support that we need. Most of the time is not as bad as we expect it to be. And that goes for everything, right? People feel more connected with you when you are your authentic self. The one who is imperfect, the one who is scared of failure, or someone who doesn't always have things together. People feel closer to you when they see that side of you. And you know why? It's because every one of us is flawed in some ways, and our flaws are something that can connect us together, I think. When we know someone else's flaw, we know that they're not always happy, they're not always perfect as they seem, or as you see on Instagram, social media. That kind of built trust between you and that person, and definitely intimacy, right? So as a result, being vulnerable helps you build better relationship, and also make you believe in yourself more. That's what I've learned. Now the question is, how do you become more vulnerable when it's scary to do so? I think the first thing is to be aware that we're feeling vulnerable in that moment, and then try to find out what those feelings are really, but we don't label them. For example, we don't say that I am scared, or I am anxious, or I am angry. Those emotions don't define us. Instead, we should say, I notice that I'm feeling scared. I notice that I'm feeling worried about something. I notice that I don't have confidence, and I feel anxious about this new opportunity that I'm going to take, right? Or that I'm angry and sad that my best friend, forgot my birthday. Well, it's definitely uncomfortable, right? To turn towards those feelings that we say are negative feelings, but they are feelings, right? We just group them into positive and negative ourselves, but they're all human emotions. And that's why most of us would deny those feelings and just try to distract ourselves with something else and pretend they just don't exist. Or we just, if we just think we're angry, then we might just throw a tantrum or make a scene, when we don't really know what's inside or what's underneath that anger. So what I'm saying, I'm asking you to actually face them when you feel vulnerable, no matter what emotion it is. We should face them and see what they really are. This also helps you become more self-aware. You might notice that you're angry at your friend for forgetting your birthday, but if you look closer, deep down, right, under that anger, there's actually sadness. Why? Because you care, because you love them and you want to be remembered by them. And when you face that truth, your heart softens a bit, right? So pushing that emotion away only makes it grow stronger. But if you stay with it, that makes it human, right? And your brain just accepts it. It doesn't recognize it as something negative because you're not running away from it, right? But actually you face it and you try to understand what it is. And once you understand your emotions more, it becomes clearer to you, then the next thing is basically just to remind yourself that it is okay that I'm feeling this way. It is totally normal. It's part of being human. Just don't judge yourself, right? This is a step towards self-compassion. So once again, I'm gonna bring up Brené Brown, because she's just the queen of this topic on vulnerability. She said in her TED Talk that one of the things that people who have strong sense of love and belonging actually have in common is that they embrace vulnerability wholeheartedly. Right? If you embrace your vulnerability wholeheartedly, that's how you can develop the sense of love and belonging. And isn't that what we all want to have in this world? So these people, they would talk about the willingness to go confess your love to someone, not knowing you'd be rejected, or the willingness to start a new venture, start a new path in life, whether or not, it will be successful. They don't know. No one knows, right? But the thing is, they're willing to do it. So to these people, the willingness comes from the courage to be vulnerable and not afraid of judgment. They just have so much self-love and trust, And it's actually the only way, right, to live a fulfilling and truly happy life, right? You can see that it's all related. So I hope we learned something together today about vulnerability and why it is important to be vulnerable no matter how difficult it is or if it's against your nature. It is against my nature too, definitely, but I'm really trying. Now I just want to leave you with this poem from Rumi, which I really like, and I think it relates to this topic. So here's the poem. I said, quote, "What about my eyes?" He said, "Keep them on the road." I said, "What about my passion?" He said, "Keep it burning." I said, "What about my heart?" And he said, "Tell me what you hold inside it." I said, "Pain and sorrow." He said, "Stay with it. The wound is where the light enters you." The wound is where the light enters you. Okay, well, thank you if you stick with me through to the end of this video. I really appreciate you. Well, yeah, if this resonates with you in any way, once again, please leave your likes, your comments. It really helps me to, find the strength to keep going. Well, I hope you have a good rest of your day, your week. Take care of your heart. Be happy, be kind. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.